It's the JT Cho Show!
10, 9,
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the JT Show. It's January 28, 2020, and this is episode 15 for me. 15, shooting for 100. Before we start the show today, I just want to say a little take on Kobe Bryant. Truly sorry that one of the all-time greats, especially in my generation, growing up, Kobe, he passed away, and it's pretty sad. Him and his daughter passed away, 9 people in a tragic helicopter accident. It was such a shock, I got the text as soon as I woke up. Like, I woke up to my alarm going off, and then, hey, Kobe Bryant just passed away. I couldn't believe it, it's a huge culture shock. The fans in LA are, they're really feeling it hard, too. When I was growing up, he was always a good basketball player. I kind of hated him because he played for the Lakers, and they always won. And one of my favorite memories was when the Pistons beat the Lakers in 2004 with Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, and Tajon Prince. But it's really unfortunate, especially him and his daughter and 7 other people on that helicopter crashed. The NBA is really feeling it. And I do have to say, one of my things that I do see every once in a while on social media, people are like, you should celebrate, America's heroes, people who served our great country of America. Hey, why don't we calm down like that? It's just a walker by, don't worry about it. But what I'm saying is people are upset that the way over social media, how people are responding to this because they're quote-unquote not, they're not thanking servicemen who lost their lives overseas. But I read a really great post by someone who said that we're quite, the people who serve the country, they're quiet professionals. They don't do it for fame. Kobe was one of the best at his craft. So if you want to be Kobe famous, you're not joining the military so you can become Kobe famous. You're joining the military because you're serving your country. You're doing it for an education. You're doing it sometimes because you're bored with life and you have nothing better to do. Whatever your reason may be, you're not doing it to get famous. I can tell you that right now. So the people who are, commenting negatively on that, this isn't the time or place for that. That's all I have to say about that. But rest in peace, Kobe. I do agree with the game called Kobe. Instead of playing 21, you play Kobe, where you go, you play to 24, and if you miss your 24th shot, you go back down to 8. I think that's an awesome idea. And the next time we get 4 or 5 guys together on the basketball court, maybe we'll play some Kobe. And also, I read, and I do agree with this too, don't stop saying Kobe, okay? Whenever you're shooting that paper ball into the trash can, Kobe, that's what you grew up with. Kobe, even though he was on the Lakers and I hated the Lakers, you're still saying Kobe. So continue on. Rest in peace. Condolences to the family, to LA, to everyone who was, I didn't know him personally because, I'm me. But everyone that knew him on a personal level, I'm really sorry that they lost a friend. People lost a father. People lost a husband. People lost a teammate. It's tragic. But, again, rest in peace, Kobe. And we're going to start the show. So, today you can see, if you can't see if you're listening on the radio, this is on my YouTube channel. We're in my kitchen today. So this is one of the reasons I love my house, because I really like this kitchen. But today we're making apple pie. I'm making 2 apple pies, one for myself, one for a friend. And then I'll probably take the leftovers to work because I can't eat a whole apple. I could eat a whole apple pie to myself, but I'm already fat enough. While I'm making this apple pie, though, I'm going to be talking about the Super Bowl. I don't even know if I can say it. The big game. No, but anyways, I'm not advertising or making money or monetizing this, so I can say Super Bowl. So you got a Super Bowl matchup coming up. You got Andy Reid and the Chiefs versus 49ers. And here's some personal reasons I don't want the 49ers to win. They beat Green Bay. I think Jimmy Garoppolo just hands the ball off and lets his team does what it does. I also think that think. I know I don't like Joey Bosa. I'm not an Ohio State fan. I hate hearing, oh, the rookie Joey Bosa. Yeah, he's a phenomenal player. I understand all that junk, but to be honest, I'd rather have the Chiefs win because Andy Reid, he's a football guy. He got done winning the AFC Championship, and he went home. He had a cheeseburger and he went to bed. I mean, if that's not more of a man than I've ever heard in my entire life, then I mean, he deserves it. He's had a lot of success in the regular season. He's very good at preparing when he has 2 weeks off. The 49ers are a complete team. They're the most complete team right now in the league. They're not the best at everything, but they're in the top 5 almost on everything. So we're going to get into a little bit more of that, so I'll kind of explain what I'm doing. So I've already made my dough. I made my dough this morning. I made a crumbly crust this morning too. That's in the freezer. It's freezing over. I've got 2 bowls here. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to get it started, taking 2 bowls. Right now, you can see we've got packed brown sugar, regular sugar, flour, cinnamon is the winner mon, a little bit of salt. So you're going to just throw those each in a bowl. Easy squeezy lemon peasy. Alright, and then you're just going to whisk that together, and we're just going to set that aside after we whisk it together. Again, I'll try to do this away from the mic so it's not too scratchy, but, you know, I also do visuals more than audio, so just so you guys are aware. Now, I know, why is this guy baking? Why is the JT Show baking? Well, because I like to bake, you know, and I like to make cookies, and when I was in New Mexico, a lot of my friends would come over, and I would just bake and send them home with food, because, you know, I personally love chocolate chip cookies, but a batch makes about 24 to 36. Now, I'm already packing some heat right here, but I don't need to be eating 36 chocolate chip cookies, so it's easier for me to pass that along to friends rather than to sit there and eat 36 chocolate chip cookies. So now that we got boom bam, all that mixed together, I'm not going to go over the entire recipe. You can do your apple. I've done apple pies many ways. I've used traditional crust. I've cut crust. I've done design crust. I've done crumble crust. This is another crumble crust. I've also taken the apples and I've heated that on a skillet and did it a different way. But today, it doesn't call for that. So we're going to be using this apple slicer, apple peeler. And this thing, I got this for Christmas last year, and boy, does it work wonders. Oh yeah. And I didn't use it for about the first, you know, I'd say 2 or 3 months, and then I started baking some pies, apples specifically, and you know, it really works wonders, and it slices them nice and thin, and that's what you want. Now, some tips of the trade. Sorry to step out of camera. Some tips of the trade. You want to use a variety of apples you want to use a variety of apples when making apple pie. You don't want to use specifically one brand of apple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using 3 Granny Smiths and also 3 Fiji apples. So just in case you're wondering from home. And right now, I just got to do some minor adjustments for this, but it's okay. So, anyways, let's get back on the subject of football while I'm peeling some apples. Now, here's some of the reasons why I think that the 49ers are going to be troublesome. Let's talk about their defense. Now, you may have seen on social media that Revis who's not in the Super Bowl, is arguing with Richard Sherman. Now, Richard Sherman might just be one of the best cover 3 defensive backs the league's ever seen. Now, when it comes to Revis would go to his coach essentially and say, Coach, who do you want me to take out of the game? Who do you want me to cover? And I'd say 8 or 9 times out of 10, Revis would lock down a man. Now, I have seen, that was a weird accent, I have seen Revis get burnt. We've all seen it. You know, that's going to happen from time to time, but most of the time he's gonna stay with the best player on the field. Now, when it comes to guarding the best player on the field, Revis, you know, he wasn't scared to do it. And there's an argument that Sherman's, you know, scared to do it. But here's what it comes down to. I was talking this over with Cut. Basically, Revis, you can ask Revis to do what Sherman does, but you can never ask Sherman to do what Revis did. So essentially, you can ask Revis to play in a cover 3, and it's going to be no problem for him. But if you're going to ask Richard Sherman to go man-to-man on the best man on the field, no matter if he's on the right or left side of the field, you can't do it. He's scared. I don't care what you say. You can call it ignorance. He's probably never going to see this anyways. But all I'm saying is when it comes down to it, he only plays the right side of the field. Now, the linebacker position for San Francisco, you know, they got the rookie Bosa. They don't really blitz a lot, but they do a lot of stunts up the middle. And, you know, it's going to come down to, can Kansas City keep executing the offense? And what I mean by that is Kansas City kind of has this offensive scheme where they have a very talented young quarterback named Patrick Mahomes, right? And Patrick Mahomes, who, by the way, if you're a Bears fan, he was drafted after Mitch Trubisky at number 10 when Trubisky went 2nd overall, I believe. Ooh, that's gotta sting. But Patrick Mahomes is a very talented quarterback. But most of the time, if you watch, he can bomb the ball too, by the way. But if you watch Patrick Mahomes play football and you watch the offensive scheme of Kansas City, you notice that Patrick Mahomes gets the ball off to all of their fast receivers as fast as he can. And this is a brilliant move. The less your quarterback has to hold the ball in a game of football, the less likely chance that you're going to get sacked. Now, can the defensive backs of San Francisco be consistent enough to where Patrick Mahomes has to hang on to the ball for 1? Boy, this is an awkward apple. And we might have to go old school for this. But can they be disruptive enough up front and make Patrick Mahomes hang on to the ball and then still stop him? One of the biggest plays that you saw in the AFC Championship game, was Patrick Mahomes was flushed out of the pocket, and he scrambled up the sideline, up the left hash for probably 20 to 30 yards, and he scored a touchdown, which what should have been a regular quarterback at regular speed just running out of bounds because, you know, he didn't want to get sacked or tackled or, you know, any defensive player to come near him, so you just run out of bounds and you go on to the next play. Patrick Mahomes is a very explosive player, so you're going to have to see if that brilliant defense that San Francisco has can stop that very talented quarterback that Kansas City is used to. Now, personally, and I'm no expert, you know, you can criticize me because I'm not an NFL executive. I'm not an NFL coach. I've never been an NFL player. I've never played at the collegiate level. But when it comes time, when I look at, and I gotta stop saying so much. But when I look at Kansas City, I don't really see a defense. Yeah, they can get a stop here and there, but it's gonna be how well has Andy Reid prepared his team to stop that San Francisco run. Now, if you've noticed, the last 2 games, and this is where Garoppolo takes his criticism, the last 2 games, he hasn't thrown very much. You saw Ryan Tannehill not throw very much in his 2 games, and Jimmy Garoppolo has been taking it pretty easy. Now, Kittle has said, yeah, he likes easy games. Oh, man, dude, I'm not going to use that, but I got to stop dropping apples on the floor. But Kittle's is a man's man, right? He's and by the way, you're arguably right now going to get the best 1 and 2 tight ends in football playing on opposite sides of the field. But Kittle says that he likes easy games. And a huge problem for Kansas City is going to be, do we prepare for the run because that's what killed Green Bay? Or do we look at more than just the run because they're going to try to throw some passes at least? And that's where I think that San Francisco is going to have a bunch of sneak attacks because, Green Bay's coach said I couldn't stop the run. He prepared for the run. He watched film on the run, and they just kept slamming the ball down their throats. Can Kansas City stop the run? Can they stop those blocking schemes? I think they can, but then you're going to get Jimmy Garoppolo opening up, and then it's just going to be possibly an offensive slaughterhouse if you overcommit on the run. So the Super Bowl is going to be pretty tricky this year. I don't specifically have a dog in the fight. Like I previously stated, yes, I'm most likely going to be rooting for Kansas City because I think that Andy Reid is one of the most, besides Bill Belichick, I think Andy Reid is one of the most knowledgeable coaches in the game of football. So I would like to see Andy Reid take home some hardware. I think he deserves it. I think he's put in the time. San Francisco, all they did was turn around their organization after, a year? They won 4 years the previous season, and now they're going to the championship. To me, that's kind of unfair. Oh, and by the way, I should have wrote down his name, but that's my oven going off. One of the executives that used to be, he's an executive now for San Francisco. He used to work in Detroit, and he was quoted this week saying, "Oh yeah, I knew Aaron Donald was going to be good. I should have drafted him for Detroit." That's like putting oil on a fire. Like, you're not really doing any good. Why do you got to say ignorant things like that? That's like saying, like, "Oh, I was right all along, and Detroit was left without Aaron Donald. But, I should have drafted Aaron Donald, and maybe Detroit would be better. But, I'm doing what I'm doing for San Francisco, so for San Francisco, so I have to be knowledgeable now." When he said that, I honestly, I was like, man, I can't believe, I could not believe that, that, I can't believe that's what he was saying. I just think, again, I think that's a moronic statement. If you knew that you should have drafted Aaron Donald, then you should have drafted Aaron Donald. That being said, sorry, Detroit, that you didn't get Aaron Donald. Now, there's another thing with the Super Bowl. I think he's a 10-year-old kid. He wants the Super Bowl to be changed to a Saturday. Now, the only reason that I don't like that idea is because Super Bowl Sunday is such a traditional saying. Super Bowl Sunday. But at the end of the day, it makes more sense because a lot of people like to partake in drinking on Super Bowl Sunday. They like to, it's one of the most called off days in America. Is the day after Super Bowl Sunday. And so there's a lot of reasons why it kind of makes sense to take off Super Bowl Sunday. Not take off Super Bowl Sunday, to move it to Saturday, just because, generally most Americans don't work on Sunday. So I think that the NFL should definitely take a look at changing the Super Bowl to Saturday instead of Sunday. Let's talk about the Pro Bowl. Who watched the Pro Bowl? Not me. I don't care about the Pro Bowl. Why? Because the game of football is a physical game. The game of football ends mostly with contact, and you don't really try hard in the Pro Bowl, and you're not supposed to. It's supposed to just be a fun time. The fans come out, they see Kirk Cousins passing to Devontae Adams for touchdowns. But one of the shocking things that happened at the game, and touching back on Kobe Bryant, was that fans at the game were discovering the death of that iconic legend, and that would be horrible, And unfortunately, it was leaked on the internet, mainly before the family, could be notified by law enforcement. But just imagine trying to enjoy the Pro Bowl and then hearing tragic news like that. I'm really sorry if you found out that way. Michigan State, Tom Izzo, he told, they found out during a game, like the players on the court found out that the passing of Kobe Bryant. But, to go to the Pro Bowl and, pay all that money to see your players play and then find that out, that would kind of ruin the day for me. Now, what should they do for the Pro Bowl? Well, personally, I think they should completely get rid of the game that they play, and they should just go to a completely skill-based setting. I think some of the things they do with the passing trees and the quarterback skill games and the wide receivers getting on that's a lot of fun, but I think they should just completely scrap the Pro Bowl because no one really wants to play in it, and it doesn't mean anything at all. Now, some of the players get bonuses and incentives if they go to the Pro Bowl and if their team wins the Pro Bowl and they give out money, I do believe, if that happens. But for me, if I'm a player, I'm not trying hard. I'm happy that I made it. I'm happy that I had a good year. But realistically, it's one more week where, you got to practice, and for what? It doesn't count as a W. It doesn't count as an L. It's completely boring. I think the NHL, even though their game doesn't matter, it's still competitive. Baseball has it the best way. I like how home field advantage is determined for the World Series through the game because it actually means something, and I really like that ruling a lot. But I honestly think the NFL should take a look back at the Pro Bowl and figure out something better to do with it. Because to me, again, it's boring. I don't watch it. Who cares if you score 60 points? It doesn't matter. What more do you want? So let's. We're going to take a change of pace off the game of football. We're going to be talking about what I've been doing lately. One of my viewers, he asked me to start giving updates to more video games that I've been playing throughout the weeks, and I will take fan requests to a certain point because I do it for the fans, I guess. I appreciate everyone who watches. Villarreal, he's in Alaska with Pepper. I don't know if they're still doing it to troll me, but they're watching every week. Frank down in Tampa watches every week. Hill in San Antonio watches most weeks. Miller watches, and I appreciate it. I appreciate all my friends who watch the show. Earl, he's been catching up. But people requested that I start updating COD stats. And my biggest problem with Call of Duty is I'm not very good anymore. Right now, I am getting better just because I've played it so often, and I'm not really trying to max out every single weapon like I used to, where I'm trying to get Gucci Gold for everything, and so I can get Platinum or whatever they call it this year. My KD ratio right now, it's about a 0.78. Never turn your back to the audience, but it's about a 0.78 right now. It's not too good at all. It's not a level 1. That's how you know I'm a scrub. But I'll start updating you guys on The Witcher. So, like I said previously, I think episode 3, 4, or 5 of the JT Show, that I was going to replay The Witcher. So for Christmas, out of some, actually for the Black Friday sales, I bought the DLC for The Witcher for $10, and I've never played the DLC for The Witcher. So basically, I am past the first part. I just met up with Yennefer for the first time in the game. She explained to me that the Wild Hunt is after Siri. No, not the Apple computer, but the young Witcher in the game. So the Wild Hunt is after her, and I'm checking for leads currently at the moment to see if anybody's seen Siri now that her father has more or less obligated me to find her. Now, some of the side quests that I've done that I've enjoyed, here's what I enjoy about The Witcher. So, for instance, the Witchers live by a code. They don't do jobs for free most of the time, They're always asking, hey, I need you to kill this thing, and then the Witchers are usually like, hey, there's a price for that, you know what I'm saying? So, there's times in the game where you'll just get a normal mission, right? So, for instance, I was stopped by a priest out on the road. I was galloping on Roach. And as I'm riding on Roach, a little exclamation point popped up on my map, and I said, hey, look, a quest. I could use another one, even though I have 100. And I stopped and I talked to him, and he basically told me, oh, there's these dead bodies I need burned up because I don't want to do it myself, and you're a Witcher. And it's great, here's some oil you can put on the body. You can use Igni, and you can go burn them up. So there's 3 piles. There's some undead creatures that are trying to eat them. No big deal. So, by the way, this is just butter. So don't be alarmed. Butter. But so I got hired by a priest who offered me some coin to go burn some dead bodies on the battlefield so it doesn't attract more dead creatures. Now, I go to the first one, the second one, no problem, killed some creatures, killed a couple bears. They were just hanging around, they weren't part of the, sorry, microphone, but they weren't part of the main mission, they were just they were just there by accident. So, I go to the third burning pit, and I find this dude. And this dude's like, hey, how's it going? And the Witcher's like, why are you alive? I was just here to burn some dead bodies. And he's like, oh, well, some priest over there, he was like, hey, man, I've got a mission for you. I need you to do A, B, C, and D for me. And then when it came time to doing D, he was like, oh, I don't need you anymore. Boom, bam, kill him. Oh, hey, great, a Witcher. Let's cover up all the evidence, and he's dead. So they thought the Witcher was just going to run in, burn some dead bodies, cover all the evidence, get paid, and move on with their life. Now, I could have stopped right there, murked the dude, stabbed him, killed him, and then that would have been it. Then I wouldn't have had to. I could have just went back to the priest and been like, hey man, not killed everybody, they were already dead. Burned all your corpses, thanks for the cash, deuces. But I heard him out. I said, hey man, how's it going? Now The Witcher, if you've seen the TV show and if you ever played the game, he talks much more educated than I do. So, the Witcher goes back to the priest, and he says, hey, remember me? And the priest is like, oh, the Witcher, Geralt. So great to see you. Thanks for doing my dirty work. And he's like, hey, and this is where I like the game. it gives you a couple options. Now, like I said, option A, you can be like, yep, no big deal. Where's my money? See you later. But then there's option B. And option B says, hey man, I met this guy and he told me this story. So I'm like, yeah man, let's do the righteous thing. Let's ask what happened so we can get both sides of the story, because the first guy could have been a liar. But, let's hear this dude out. So this priest said, oh, well, that's a very interesting story that I heard from you, and I'd like to purchase it from you, Richard. So again, here comes the choices. You can say, oh, hey, I'm a sellout. Thanks for the cash. I don't care. Deuces. Or, justice. And you can say, I believe what he said was, you can purchase my services, but you can't buy me, or something amongst the gist of those lines. I'm paraphrasing. And so the priest said, oh, well, it's going to be easier and cheaper to kill you anyway. Now, me knowing me and playing video games, I already had Igni out. So the priest was like, it's 3-on-1, man. It's going to be easy. No, it's not. So I just caught the priest on fire. He died right off the ripper. I downloaded the expansion pack so it's got better finishers, and I cut that guy in half. So here's the beauty. Here's the beauty about that, though. I did not know how much money the priest was going to give me in the first part, but what he did was bad. Okay. When you try to kill living people and pay off witches, that's bad, okay? You're not gonna want to do that, okay? You're gonna want to do the righteous thing and not try to kill people who do services, especially as a priest, okay? That's my Mr. Mackey. So I killed this dude, catch him on fire, and I'm like, oh wait, he was gonna pay me some cash. Let's see how much money he had. So it's only 200 crowns. But who knows, man? Maybe that dude could have only given me 100 crowns, Or maybe he could have only gave me 50 crowns. I still don't know. But I took out a bad guy. I took out an evil man. I did it for the good cause. And I took his wallet. Because, he's dead anyway, so might as well loot him. Might as well not let his, money go to waste. The money doesn't expire, even though the dude's dead. So that's one of the things I really, really, really like about The Witcher. And some of the choices that you make, for instance, you meet the king and you learn to bow. You have to pay attention because if you bow wrong, they're like, hey, you're not bowing right. You gotta, it's like something like that. And then you're like, oh, it's like this, and you're like, no, idiot, it's like this. So you meet the king, and then it's like, hey, you're supposed to bow, and then you can either bow or don't bow. And if you don't make your choice, the game makes your choice for you. But depending on the choices you make can depend on the outcome of the game. And I've already heard two different outcomes different from mine. One of them was a dark ending, which I'm not going to spoil for you. And one of them was just a normal ending like mine, happy, go lucky. But essentially, you have to make those choices on the spot, which can affect the end of the game. So right now, I'm still very, very, very early in The Witcher, but I'm having a really, really good time with it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to check the time to see how much time we have left. I usually don't try to go over an hour unless I have a guest. Oh, it's only been 34 minutes. That's not bad at all. You guys are probably thinking, I'm already tired of hearing him talk. I don't care anymore. So for The Witcher, I'm still, like I said, mostly in the beginning. Call of Duty, I'm still a scrub. Some other games, I still play Rocket League. And then the only other game that I'm playing through for the very first time is Mario Odyssey. Now, Mario has come to the evolution of different formats. They've used side scrollers how they originally were made. They've done Mario 3D, essentially for Mario 64, which Odyssey's a 1080p product of that. And one of the things that I really like about the game is having to learn move combos. Essentially, you can roll, jump, throwing your hat, diving. There's a lot of different variations in how you get from point A to point B, and you got to learn these combos so that you can be successful at the game. You can't just hit A twice to double jump and make it everywhere. You've actually to get all the moons, which if you're not playing for all the moons, then I don't know why you're playing. You need to learn you actually need to be good at the basic movements of the game. So far, the bosses of the game, I played 2 of them. They haven't been very hard at all. But again, these are the 2 intro bosses. And by the way, if you find it hard or tough, and you've got a second player that wants to play with you, it actually makes the game A, easier, and B, less tough. They control the hat specifically while you do everything else. Currently, I'm on the water level right now, and I bought myself a little ring, little swimsuit, little snorkel action. I think the little costume designs that they have for this game are pretty cool too. Mario Odyssey right now, I know I'm late to the game. It was on sale, so I got it on the marketplace when it was. Well, not the marketplace. The Nintendo store never goes on sale. No, I bought it online for sale because the physical copy of the game will be sold for $15 to $20 cheaper than a digital copy, which I just don't understand. But I don't work for Nintendo. I'm not a marketing expert, so Nintendo charges the prices that Nintendo charges, and there's nothing I can do about it. But those are all the video games. That's a video game update of the week for the JT Show. So let's end the show with what's up to come. I said that weird. So in the near future, I got to work the next couple days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm off for the Super Bowl. I took some time off next week, doing some substitute teaching. But another JT Show. I'm gonna pick a topic and ramble about that for about an hour. So there's gonna be a different topic I'll talk about. This is kind of just hey, I wanted to bake a pie. I wanted to show you it's kind of easy. And yeah, I'm a pretty messy cook. That's one of the things I need to work at. But right now in the oven, I got 2 pies baking at 400 degrees for roughly 25 minutes. Essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to monitor these pies. I've got them on 2 hot cookie trays, so in case those apple fillings boil and drip over, it's going to be caught instead of hitting the bottom of your oven and causing a stank for your kitchen. After 25 minutes, I'm going to turn down the temperature to 350 for roughly about 60 more minutes. If the top starts getting too brown, I got to cover with some tin foil. So essentially you're not burning the top, but you want to make sure that using a pear knife, you can cut through an apple like it's warm butter, like a hot knife on a butter stick. Oh, by the way, I got a new book. Let me wash my hands. I don't want to get grease on the book. I'll talk about this new book that I'm getting. Well, not that I'm getting, that I got. That I'm going to be reading. So, excuse me for stepping out of frame if you're watching on the YouTube. So, I listened to a lot of Joe Rogan, and so I took some advice. This is called Empire of the Summer Moon. It's the rise and fall of the Comanches, the most powerful Native American tribe in American history. So, I'm really looking forward to that for a good read. I also bought another sci-fi book, but I'm a little embarrassed, so I'm not going to tell you what it is. I had to order The Witcher, the second book, because they didn't have it at Barnes & Noble, so I had to buy that on Amazon, because I'm already done with the first book, which is on the TV show that I haven't watched yet. I've only watched 1 episode. I know I'm behind. I'm halfway through The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the latest series for that book, too. So I got a lot of reading to do here in the near future, too. And maybe if someone's interested, I can dive into different books and talk about that. Again, I'm no expert on some of these subjects. I probably won't talk too much about the Native American book that I bought because I just don't want to offend an entire group of people that already hate white people enough for, manifest destiny. But I got a lot of reading to do in the near future, and then I will also talk about the diet that I'll be going on. I'm going to start 80-20 method because, again, like I said, I've got a few little extra pounds right here and right here. I'm currently sitting at 222 pounds right now. Sometimes I can weigh at 219 if I'm pretty dehydrated, and sometimes I can weigh up to 225. Depends how much water I'm drinking every day. I really, by the time I hit 30, I hit that dirty 30. I turned 30 years old this year. So by the time that I'm 30, I want to be 205 pounds. So in 5 months, I should be able to drop at least 15 pounds. So I'm going to do this 80-20 method, which on the premise, without diving too deeply into it, 80% of the time you're doing the things that you should be doing, 20% of the time you're eating a bag of hot Cheetos because they're delicious. So using the 80-20 method, hopefully I'll be able to drop these 15 pounds. I'm going to go on a little bit of a workout program. I'm going to start grinding. One of my viewers who's seen a little bit of episodes here and there, Nick Minerath, he plays professional basketball right now. And I saw him slam dunk on a 7-foot dude. It was pretty stellar. He motivates me to get back into the gym because he's always saying things like, I'm going to take this a little out of context, but basically don't be a little bitch and get back and, get that grind going. So, I'm not trying to get, like that. I just want to get more toned, more fit, less fat, you know what I'm saying? I want to start running more. I'm probably going to be ordering a new pair of shoes, and maybe I'll give those a good review too, or see how they are. I'm currently on a Nike free run trend. I've done Brooks before, but it just depends what's all in the near and dear future. But besides that, that's all that's coming up for the near future. But I'm just gonna take it day by day, get through these next 2 days of work, and watch Super Bowl Sunday. Again, I'm predicting that I'm gonna put $100 on Kansas City. It's only $100. You gotta put your money where your mouth is. You can say anything that you want on my Twitter. I'm JTofJville. I'll put I'll screenshot the bet so you can know that I actually threw $100 down. So put $100 on Kansas City, and of Kansas City beating the 49ers. The over-under is really tricky, though, because I don't know if they're going to be able to stop Kansas City, but I also don't know if Kansas City's going to be able to overcome such a good defense. But on the other side of the ball, maybe the run game gets stopped and Jimmy Garoppolo gets exposed. That's what I'm hoping for. But again, I think Kansas City takes it. Check my Twitter, JTofJville. On my Instagram, JTofJville as well, I'll take some pictures of my pies. Visit my website, JTofJville.com, if you are one of those people that want to hire me for stand-up comedy, which I'm signing up for. You can't sign up for next week until tomorrow. So tomorrow or Thursday, I'll put my name in the hat, and hopefully they draw it this time. I've been writing a lot more new material. It's only 5 minutes, but I'm completely confident that I'm going to do fairly well in it, hopefully. I mean, sometimes you can hit a crowd that just hates you, but I already hate myself, so if I can just use that for me and against me, technically, at the same time, I think I'll be okay. But if you want me to, change up the format a little bit of this show, if you got some, views, opinions, hit me up, JTofJville for all that jazz. On Twitter, hit me up in the comment section. Like, subscribe. I don't care if you do that, because if you don't like it, you don't have to subscribe. If you don't like it, please don't downvote. But again, thanks for tuning in to the JT Show. I'm JT, JTofJville for all those hashtag and handles and all that jazz.